or flesh pedestrians. Why don't you why don't you guys tell us whether thank you for the gifts. Why don't you guys tell us what I have not
Dogman is,
what's
yeah.
someone just said Dogman. So what's
So
Dogman?
he's spread out pretty much everywhere, just like Hatman is. He's not necessarily as seen, or like I've dated Hatman back to like the 1910s. So Dogman I haven't, but he's been seen in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, a lot of the eastern states too, like Indiana. There was one that I did, I think that was in Ohio, and it's pretty much he's seen in different ways, but it's like half man, half dog. He's like werewolf, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, do you guys want to do Dogman, Hatman, or flesh pedestrians? Okay, I want to know more about Dogman. Okay, so people are saying Dogman.
Okay,
You go first, Rylee. You can look it up first.
let me see. I follow a lot of different Redditors. The other one that I get with Dogman is the Mudman. I don't know if you've ever heard about him, but he's just like this big blob of mud that explodes on a bridge.
No, I've never heard of him.
um,
See, I pictured a beagle man, someone said. Yeah,
oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
that would be creepy.
So this one's actually footage.
Oh, we have footage, guys.
Hold on, let's see. I have it on my iPad though. That's what I'm looking it up on. So I'm gonna have to. You have to tell me if you can see it or not.
I I can sort of see it. Can you guys see it? I'm gonna shrink my screen so that you guys can see her screen more.
Let me turn
There
this
we
off.
go.
Hold on, let me turn this
Thank
guy.
you, Chris. We appreciate you. You're the best, Chris. Ew.
You see it running at him?
Oh no. Oh no.
It's like crawling.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Where is that?
This guy, they actually didn't post where, but it's in a different language. So I'm gonna go with. Oh wait, hold on.
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
there are two of them. Someone just asked, Chris just asked if there are two of them.
let me pause it right there because you can kind of see him. You see him peeking over the bush.
Yeah, yeah, there's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just kind of running around, is what they're showing. It's getting all
I
blurry from them, and now it's running towards him.
Oh my gosh. Hi, suck on my sunshine. I love that name.
That's so
Yeah.
that's so good. Um, so I'm gonna say that this one's in a different country, but it's an actual thread that is strictly for Dogman. Through
Okay.
33,266 Dogman believers.
Wow. I've never even heard of him until now, I don't think.
The most common stories that I get are seeing him in different clothing. Like he's half man, half dog, but some have seen him in army clothing. Some have seen him in like kayaking clothes where it's like the tight water outfits.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like taking people and then taking their clothes and acquiring like a new closet or something, but let's see.
My two favorite photo triggers. Thank you, suck on my sunshine. Oh yeah, no, that's so creepy. He's so big. I wonder where does he
He's huge.
it looks like one is staring and one is running towards them. I'm not seeing two, Chris. I don't know how I was gonna say where's he getting his wardrobe? Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's he's huge.
Huge.
Yeah, I
Um, okay. This person said, my neighbor cured my curiosity. I'm grown enough to admit that sometimes my curiosity makes me stupid. The fact that I wanted to prepare an excursion into some woods after studying witness locations. This is all specific to the Dogman. I've been listening to Vic's channel on YouTube for nearly 2 years now, and you'd think that hearing enough grown folk crying while recounting the worst nights of their lives would be enough to deterrent from wanting to go out into an alleged sighting only 15 minutes from my house, right? It was my neighbor. I don't even know what she was doing outside. She's never outside her house past 7 or 8 p.m. But she thought she saw the dog man because she's been religiously watching this person's YouTube channel about the dog man.
And so wait, she saw the dog man and now
She thought she did.
okay. And now she's like obsessing over it.
Yeah, and it turned out to be her neighbor instead of the dog man. Could you imagine dedicating your life to something and it was just your neighbor that you've
No.
never
That's awful. That's worse than it being paranormal. Hold on.
literally, I'd rather it be paranormal.
I'm gonna tell them one more time what you heard so we both have ghost apps downloaded right now. So
Yeah.
it's just John next door. Yeah, exactly. Tell them what you heard on your ghost app before we got on here.
It was like a little boy's voice at first, and it said Michael, and then the follow-up voice was a demonic voice, and it said, "I can feel your heart beating."
Do you
And
know
like,
Michael?
no, well, I mean, I know plenty of Michaels just from life, but not anyone like close to me or anything, or
My
anyone that's common.
boyfriend's name is Michael.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That is super creepy.
Is there like any kids in his life?
No.
No.
He has a nephew, but that's it.
I don't know. The way that it sounded like they were announcing themselves, like he was the loudest in the room.
That's crazy to me. That is crazy. I have this EMF reader, but it's just like I'm like going across the room and there's just a bunch of numbers. I don't know I don't know what these numbers mean. It says walk around slowly, but it's not working for me. Which one did you download?
So I downloaded two. The first one did not work all that well, and that was Ghost Hunt, but the second one was Spirit Box, and that's what I heard it on.
Okay, so someone just said my brother that passed away, his name is Michael. Wyatt. I know Wyatt. You sent me a story, right, Wyatt? Nothing worse than a creepy. Oh yeah. So your brother that passed. Well, I'm sorry about your brother. That's really sad. But that's crazy. That's super weird. I want to know which one you downloaded so I can download that one.
Okay. It's like a little skull icon with purple flames around it.
Okay.
It's called Spirit Box.
Spirit Box. Okay. So, do you guys want to hear like her and I have both gotten the same stories, a couple of the same stories. We can talk about the fact that we've gotten a couple of the same stories, or we can research things more, or we can each read a story to you. Like, I don't know if you want to read a story, Rylee, or I can read one if you don't want to read one, and you can do the research, or it's up to you.
Whatever we want, whatever anybody wants to do, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter to me either way. If you have a story that you like have prepared to read, because I haven't looked at anything to read,
Okay.
then you can totally read a story if that's what everyone wants to do.
Okay,
And then,
cool.
along the way, if we want to research something, we totally can.
Yeah, we should research stuff again. This one says, I'll quite frankly listen to anything either of you say. Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. So one story that let me see let's see. While I'm looking for the story, because I did find one, do you want to research, what did we say we were researching before Dogman? Hi, Duchess Anastasia. How you doing?
Flesh
Flesh
pedestrians?
pedestrians. Yeah, let's do that. Let's research flesh pedestrians. See what we got going on there. There's a lot of people that have seen flesh pedestrians, and they intrigue me quite a bit. And if there's anything that you guys have in mind, then drop it in the comments. Don't be afraid to tell us what you guys want us to talk about, or if you want to hear something. But in the meantime, I'm gonna download this app real quick while she researches that. Are you guys cool with flesh pedestrians? Because that's what we're researching. How about going live with the fans to talk to about life experiences if you have the time? How about going live with the fans to talk about life experiences if you have the time?
Like your experience in Ghost or just in general?
Yeah, and like our experiences or your experiences. Almost all your stories have a tall black figure, something they don't have a face. Yes, a lot of them do. I always clean my house when I listen to either of you, one of you guys. I love both of your content. Oh, so sweet. Thank you so much. Skinwalkers. So there's, oh, whoops. I'm sorry, you guys. You gotta just like everyone. You guys are typing it, so I'm allowed to say it.
Literally, it's automatic.
So we're gonna do flesh pedestrians then. Let me hold on. Let me see if I can, because I actually got flesh pedestrian. Let's see. Okay, there's more. Okay, here we go. So we have something on Reddit. Okay, not okay. Just stop. Allow. Go. This is not working. No, don't do this to me. Oh crap. You know what? I don't think that I have internet, and I think I have to go get the code for the internet here. I don't have it on my iPad. Do you mind entertaining them for a second?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so I actually just found this post. It looks super interesting. So it says, a quick reminder of what a flesh pedestrian is. Sorry, I caught myself. I see a lot of people confused about skinwalkers, so I will just talk about them a little. I am quoting, okay? Firstly enough, they are cryptids. They are simply witches. A skinwalker is a witch or shaman that practices bad medicine, or as we call it, black magic. They are capable of shape-shifting, voice mimicry, astral projection, possession, and have extensive knowledge of curses, hexes, and jinxes. As to how they were granted with such abilities and knowledge are murky at best. But what we do know is that they try to have to initiate themselves with the darkest of spirits and witches, with one of the steps being the willful, sacrificial murder of a loved one, friend, family, it isn't clear. In some cases, cannibalism is part of the process. Have weaknesses. Firstly is white ash, which can be coated onto bladed weaponry or bullets, and how you beat a magic user. Well, be a magic user yourself. Shamans and medicine men are certainly capable of handling flesh pedestrians, and it's also stated that if you know the name of the flesh pedestrian in question, then you should say it, and that saying it will kill the flesh pedestrian in question. Just so you know, these are all run on sentences. There's absolutely no periods. Okay, so if it sounds like I'm struggling just in the slightest bit, that would be why.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
It's so hard sometimes. Once they completed the initiation process and gain their abilities, they become vile tricksters who will go out of their way to torment or maim whoever they come across. The level of depravity they hold is almost unmatched, only rivaled by the worst of monsters, both in the literal and metaphorical sense. They, unlike other paranormal creatures, are people, meaning they can be anyone, even you or me. They are characterized by the fact that they wear animal pelts. As for why, well, it's believed that wearing a part of the animal allows them to shapeshift into the animal in question. In fact, this is why the pelts of predatory animals are often forbidden in Navajo-speaking tribes, after a deer or a goat can't do as much damage as a bear or a cougar. They seem to favor the forms of coyotes, crows, dogs, and deer, and often told in legends and sightings today. While partially or fully in these forms, they can use the abilities of animals, flights from birds, agility of cats, and the brawn of a bear. Another notable thing about them is that if you speak of skinwalkers in their Navajo name, you'll risk catching the attention of he who walks on all fours. Is that supposed to mean the devil? I don't know what that means.
I think maybe, or maybe the flesh pedestrian itself. Um,
If it's crawling, I am running.
I cannot do crawling. Crawling, I can do because I do it. I do reenactments of crawling all the time, but crawling freaks me out. By the way, real quick, Duchess Anastasia, yes, the answer to your question is yes. I have had sleep paralysis all the time. I get it all the time. And hi, Danny. He who walks on all fours. Hi guys. Hi Danny. How are you, lovey? He who walks on all fours is how I refer to my ex. So I I can't do crawling either. It really freaks me out. Anything that has to do with crawling, kids or old people, I swear I can't do. It freaks me out. Um, Children, no. Just like I know I saw you say that in your video. I cannot do kids. It freaks me out when there's like ghost kids. Do they have any research on black-eyed children? Those stories always creep me out. Oh, that's a really good one. I actually just found like a bunch of stories on the Skinwalkers. So let me read one of the stories on the Skinwalker that I found on the internet, and then we'll go into black-eyed children. You want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this one is it's called Yenel Dushi is Watching Me. My grandmother on my mother's side has always been very superstitious. For lack of a better word, she's not religious, but she does believe a lot in paranormal stuff. Her mother was full-blooded Navajo and her father was Irish. Either way, she'd never been anywhere east of Montana and she grew up in Nevada. Ooh, Rylee. One year when I was, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. One year when I was in grade school, we went to visit her. Most of the visit was pretty uneventful, typically boring old people stuff, except she always kept her curtains drawn shut and would always peek out the window. And when someone asked what she was doing, she would simply reply, Yenel Dushi is watching me. This went on for nearly the entire visit until a few days before we were due to leave. My grandmother and then my baby brother, he's 19 now, were in the front yard that evening planting flowers when all of a sudden my grandmother starts shouting, insert little brother's name here, get away from the creature, it's not safe. Okay, so let's call him Steven. Steven, get away from the creature. It's not safe. Of course, being in Nevada, we all assumed that my brother had found a scorpion or a rattlesnake. So we all ran outside to see grandmother clutching my little brother and shaking in terror against the side of the house. Standing out in the yard was a large black Great Dane sized dog. It was staring at my grandmother with intensity I'd never seen before. It looked up at us, gave a little huff, and bounded off. I don't remember if it moved unusually fast or not, but I do remember it had a really deep yellow eyes. When my mother asked my grandmother what happened, she kept repeating, the Yendalushi has found me. She moved a couple weeks after that. Oh, that reminds me of something crazy, actually. We can talk about it afterwards, but I got like it was a shorter story, so I'm okay with reading it on here, but it's a crazy story. What happened? Where'd Rylee go? Rylee! I got kicked. Let me put you back on. Why does TikTok suck so bad? Oh my goodness.
I don't know what happened. It just random. I looked away and then I looked back and it was gone. But I listened to the whole thing.
Okay. Damn it, I want to do the split screen. Oh, there we go. So that was that. What I was saying is that I got like a really crazy story. Yeah, I got like a really crazy story today, and like it was very like nonchalant in the beginning, and then the end of it is just kind of like, what? And it was short, so I'm gonna read it in a little bit. It's crazy. So but for now, someone said that they wanted to do what after this? They wanted to look up, what was it, Rylee?
Black-eyed children.
Black-eyed children. Yeah. You want to do that one?
We can both look it up and just see what we find.
Okay, cool. So, guys,
I also have, I don't know if you know about it, but I have Quora. Is that what it's called?
What's that?
It's kind of like Reddit. It's another like open forum platform to speak on, but they have a lot more, how do you say in a nice way, of the older community that have like far extensive experiences, and they share them in these crazy threads. There's some that I have found that have been like over 117 stories just listed. I highly recommend downloading it.
How do you spell it?
Quora, Quora.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
They have some good stuff.
I definitely have to do that. For some reason, anything that has to do with Reddit on my iPad actually isn't working. So I'm going to go back to Safari. We're going to do The Legend of the Black-Eyed Children. Let's see. Let's see.
I looked up on Reddit the Black-Eyed Children, and it said the Black-Eyed Peas.
I haven't heard of them in
He is
the
a ghost,
longest
though. That's
time.
for sure.
Mike, please close the door.
Hi, Tammy.
Well, he just comes in and doesn't shut the door.
Get
Um,
it.
okay, so basically what I found something that says, so this what I found is basically just telling you like the legend of black-eyed children, like what the legend is of black-eyed children. Hi guys, how are you? Sorry if we're not seeing your comments. We're like researching and trying to read stuff. But this one is like the legend of black-eyed children, but it's so we want to go over that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so basically, this is the legend of black-eyed children. Aw, Jordan, that's so sweet. So they might knock on your door late on a wintry night. You may see them approaching in your car while you're waiting in a signal at a gas station. It might seem like they need help, or they might just stand still for no reason. These children do not look threatening. They would want to get into your house or your car. They will be persistent. Suddenly, you will notice something's not right about these children. Their eyes, pure black from lid to lid, dead black orbs devoid of sclera or iris. I might not be saying sclera right. Will chill up your spine. You have finally come across the black-eyed children. Black-eyed children are black-eyed kids in an urban legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16. These creatures with pale skin and black eyes have reportedly been seen hitchhiking, panhandling, or at the doorsteps of residential homes. A dozen stories keep circulating, all following a very similar pattern. Kids with completely black eyes appear at people's home or vehicle, knock on the door, and then insist upon getting inside. Anyone encountered them almost immediately felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Besides blackout eyes, these children typically appear normal. Sometimes their attire seems outdated. In extremely unusual instances, people have reported encountering creatures with talon-like feet. Please turn off the fan. No one knows where or how these creatures pop up. Conspiracy theorists believe that black-eyed children are aliens trying to reach out to their Earth. Demonologists believe they are children of the devil himself, and if you let them in, you are allowing the devil to enter your life. They want to enter your home to call their parents. However, upon making eye contact, it still seems like there is a much more sinister plot to the story. Some people claim that these children have existed since the 1980s. However, most sources say that the legend originated in 1996, post written by Texas reporter named Brian Bethel, where he wrote about 2 alleged encounters with the black-eyed children. He said that he encountered 2 children in Abilene, Texas, with pale skin and black eyes. In 2012, Bethel retold his story on TV shows Monsters and Mysteries in America. Come on, dude. Mike. I'm really sorry, you guys. With one of the story, I forgot. TV shows like Monsters and Mysteries in America. You need to stop. He then wrote in an article for the Abilene Reporter News where he described his experience again. One of the stories goes like this. On a snowy town within the middle of nowhere, Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of 3 loud knocks on the door. They opened the door and saw 2 children, a boy and a girl. Parents will be there soon. May I come in? The children did not make eye contact and just stood there in the doorway. The elderly couple were hesitant, but after a while they let the boy and girl inside. The kids settled on the couch while the wife made some hot cocoa and the husband asked them questions they were unanswered. The wife returned and noticed that her cat was scared and angry with the children. May we please use the restroom? The wife looked at the kids and she finally saw them. The children's eyes were as black as a starless universe. She directed them to the bathroom and returned to her husband, who was covering his face with his hand. Did you see their eyes? The husband then showed her his hand full of blood from a nosebleed. I shouldn't say blood. The power suddenly went out and house turned as dark as all the kids' eyes. The wife headed to the restroom and confronted by the voice of the kids at the end of the hall uttering, "Our parents are here. Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were 2 men at the end of the driveway. The men were very tall and slender. The wife waved but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The 2 men and the children then drove away together in one car. The power then came back on a little later after the kids left. Throughout the next week, weird things happened in the house. 3 of the 4 cats went missing, and the 4th had been found unalived in a pool of... The husband continued to have And finally, when the doctor went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with a very aggressive skin schmancer. This legend even crossed bodies of water and landed in the great land of UK, where in 2014, the Daily Star wrote 3 font page stories about sightings of black-eyed children in a haunted pub in Stanfordshire. Ghost hunters who believed that the black-eyed children were extraterrestrials, vampires, or ghosts took the alleged sightings very seriously. Nowadays, people still claim to see the black-eyed children when driving late at night down the empty road or outside of their window late at night or even lurking in the shadows of their room. Many people have reported seeing the black-eyed children standing in the corner of their room during their episodes of sleep paralysis or even waking up in the middle of the night because they sense someone watching them and the shadows in these children.
I have been doing silent commentary for everybody in the comments, just so you know, while you were reading.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
I was trying not to interrupt, but I have a saying. I don't know if you have seen a lot of my videos or not, but if it comes down to kids, and I'm sure anybody that's in here that does actually follow me knows this, but kids are creepy as hell.
Sorry, I had to say hi to my friend Shell real quick. I did not mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're totally fine. I can't do kids. Kids are creepy as hell, and that no one will ever change my mind. When it was saying that the black-eyed children they look normal beyond the black eyes, not to me. Nope, they look like the Omen. They look like it's all for you, Damien. Like it's, I'm good. I can't do it.
No, I really, really do not like children either. I used to have nightmares about kids. I don't know if anyone in here has ever seen Pet Sematary, but that movie scarred me for absolute life. Have you ever seen it?
Yes, the truck scene in itself was scarring, let alone the remainder of the movie. It was horrific.
It was disgusting. I couldn't even, just the whole like slitting of his his Achilles heel under the bed. Children of the Corn, Shell, yeah. Children of the Corn was not great. Oh, that was Shell. Hi, it's so good to see you, Shell. That one was creepy. I only watched like a little bit of Children of the Corn because I'm more of like a creepy ghost story type of girl. Like I'm not really like a gore type of
I've seen all of them. I don't, like I said, I'm not sure how many videos or what all you have seen because I've gone through quite a few of yours, but my partner is actually a huge horror collector and we've known each other for our entire lives since we were like 6 years old. So that's our whole entire childhood was horror movies, and like we have seen every single one of them, and all the new ones that have come out we've seen in theaters. So we just love them across the board, gore or not. We don't care. But anything with kids and crawling, it's off limits for me. I can't do it.
See, I have seen most gore movies because I was like that when I was younger. Anything that was scary, like Halloween was one of my favorite ones. I love Friday the 13th, like all that stuff. And then as I got older, I liked to like the creepy ones, like The Conjuring. Like that one really got me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
There was one that was on Netflix. I don't know if you'll recall this one or not, or if you ever saw it. But I was a Netflix binger in high school, 110%. And there was one that was like Annalise, like the real tapes of Annalise.
Annalise Michael?
Yes. And it was like the actual tapes, or it was supposed to be like a reenactment of the actual tapes. Those scarred me for sure.
Here I got a story. It's too long to tell, but of a girl who became obsessed with Annalise Michael, and it's on my I can't even say it. I'm not even gonna try. It's not on here. Let's say that. And
it's on the red triangle with the silver inside.
Yes, that's where it is. And Shell, that movie scared me too, The Children of the Corn. And I didn't have Netflix when I was in high school. I had cable.
Sorry, my age is showing. I didn't mean to be that way.
No, I'm reading a comment that said that.
I was reading it too. I meant, she only had cable. I was, I'm a 90s baby, so.
Me too. I think, yeah, so I got this story, and this girl became completely obsessed with Annalise Michael, and then, like, all this crazy stuff started happening to her, and then she would, like, pull away from it and stop researching it, and then she'd be okay, and then she'd, like, pull into it, and then she'd get, like, sleep paralysis. She started seeing stuff. She went into psychosis. Like, it was, like, all this crazy stuff that happened to her. So, yeah, the Annalise Michael that movie scared me quite a bit.
It was very like it had a little bit of everything in it, like all the movie reenactments. Emily, what was it? Emily Rose?
Emily Rose, the Exorcist. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yes. Yeah.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
So you don't know who Annalise is then?
I do know who she is,
Okay.
but I know who she is because of the story that I got from Annalise Michael. I grew up by the place called George Orphanage, and there is a legend about the orphanage burning down. What? Yeah, that was scary. By the way, she said she's a '90s baby too. You definitely had Netflix. She was born in '92. I was born in '90, but she I know who Annalise Michael is through the story that I got, but the exorcism of Emily Rose is the one that scared me. I remember like the scene in the dorm room where she's like bugging out.
Yes.
Yeah, that freaked
Oh
me
my
out just
God.
like thinking about being in that situation.
Um,
Um
have you ever looked up or listened to any of the recorded documents from Annalise? Because Annalise was the actual person that experienced what Emily Rose did in that movie, and it had a whole court case against it, and the priest went to jail, and it was a whole thing.
yeah, because they didn't give her medical attention, right?
Because, well, I personally think that it was kind of messed up because the parents gave him permission and did not seek medical attention
Yeah.
for him. But yeah, because he was continuing the exorcism instead of immediately taking her to a hospital when he realized that she was convulsing and starting to pass. He just continued to save her soul, which was the intention from the beginning. And because she passed, he was, subject to being accused of killing her.
Well, I mean, that's negligence by far at the very least because
Well, I think typically don't for maybe you'll know better than I will. For exorcisms, don't they usually have to have some type of medical person on site?
Um, I I think that they do, but I'm not positive. I have heard that before, but I think that they do have to have some type of medical person on site. Actually, I'm almost positive that they do. Because no, Mickey's saying no. Um, yeah, they do. Some people are saying no, yeah, they do. Well, let's look it up. Let's see if they have to have medical persons on site. You would think that they would because of the things that go on in an exorcism. I got like the craziest exorcism story, and the way that I told it was different from my other stories.
So I haven't told anyone this, so I might as well do it on live with you. But I had a follower that sent me some of the most convincing stories that I have ever heard in my life. He did give me permission to read a few of them, but some of them he didn't. And in his follow up last email that I received from him, it was a warning telling me that he had a vision of me in a car colliding with another vehicle. And he like gave me the setting, gave me what my partner looks like, what they're doing in the vehicle, who's driving, what road we're on. I mean, detail, detail. And I was like,
Was he right about what your partner looked like?
yeah, down to,
That's
down to like tattoos.
that is terrifying.
Yeah. Hmm.
What did you say? Okay, Miranda, how do you respond to that? And when was that?
It was okay. So it was actually during winter last year. And what he described was during winter, I lose control of my vehicle while I'm driving, and my partner's in the front seat and basically says, like watch out, and takes my vision away from the road. And that's what causes the collision. And so at first, like I took a week to like really sit on it because when someone tells you something like that, your first instinct is to be like, no, that didn't actually happen. Like you're not actually giving me information that I can utilize. And he ended up sending me a follow-up email and said, I'm sorry, I know I freaked you out. And it was like this big long email. And he basically said, like, you know, I understand if you don't want to talk to me again, but please just be careful on this road this time during a snowy day, basically. And so I followed up with him, and he still comments on all my videos and still watches everything and sends me stories every once in a while. But it was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever read, because his story about possession, like his friend ended up getting possessed, and he was the one to foresee it happen and like call the parents and get them involved. And then the mom actually had the daughter go through 5 separate exorcisms. He had her contact me, and she told me that it was all true and sent me photos of herself, her husband, her children from now. And like basically just showed me that everything he was saying was valid and truthful, in fact. So it was, seeing it and reading it was a lot to digest, and it took me quite a while to respond. I'm not gonna lie. It was very, like, I went to my stepmom and was like, just so you know, if something were to ever happen, I would not want to live a specific way. Like, that's literally how it made me feel. So it's probably the most terrifying and also most intriguing conversation and email I've ever received.
That I just don't know how I would even like I don't know how I would even take that. Like that's terrifying to me. Well, it's not, it's past winter, past 2 winters now. So,
Yeah, well, and here we only get like 3 months of summer, and we
um
get feet and feet of snow because we're right in the middle of a valley. So it could, I mean, we both look the same, and we're gonna look the same for a long period of time, you know? So unless he could tell me what my hair color was, which it was all happening from my perspective, he was seeing it through my eyes. He couldn't see like what I was wearing, what hair color I had, or anything like that, but he described my partner perfectly. All of his tattoos, I mean, his hair color, his eye color, like all of it. So I know that it could be any given point in the future. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
that's
I
terrifying.
I think about it every time I check the weather every day. I'm like, oh my
That's
God.
crazy. I don't even know how, I mean, I get some crazy emails sometimes, but I've never gotten anything like that. That's crazy. I've thank you guys. I appreciate you. Um, I just think that I don't know how that freaks me out for you.
It was really scary. I mean, I think it's been probably about, I want to say like 7, 8 months since I received that email. And I feel like now I'm okay, because at least I know enough of what I would need to do in that situation if it were to occur, to be able to actually like change it, or change the factor. I mean, obviously, if fate is real, I'm not going to be able to change that, right? And that is what it is. But I feel like I know enough now that I could make the change if it were possible. So I've kind of like come to terms with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that on the live with us.
You're welcome. It was just the craziest thing that I've ever experienced, honestly.
Yeah, that would freak me out. That would really, really freak me out. And you, especially getting the exorcism stories, I feel like that just adds to it quite a bit, especially
Hmm.
if they were scary. I know that, so I don't know if you guys remember, you'll remember Rylee because you got the same story, but the story that scared me the most that I've ever gotten was the haunting on Livingston Street. Remember that? You told it too.
Yes. Yep.
So that story, for whatever reason, while I was reading that story, I just felt sick to my stomach. Like just reading about like when the thing crawled backwards out of the closet in the bathroom. Thank you, Sunny Teed 5. And just like how she explained everything and like the feeling of the house. I don't know why. I read scary stories every single day, several of them, and for whatever reason, that story for me just made me want to vomit. I don't know what it was about that story. How did you feel about that story?
I'm pretty sure that my phone actually overheated, and a lot of my fans will say, or followers will say, like, your phone overheats whenever there's a spirit that doesn't want you to tell the story that you're telling. And I feel like that's so valid because my phone will literally overheat when I'm getting to the most like important section of the story with the most meat and potatoes to it, you know?
Yeah,
And my phone overheated like 3 times when I was filming that story.
that's crazy. That's insane. I For those of you who don't know what that story is, I don't think we like going into it. It's a really long story. To read it would probably take just too much time, but it was just basically about this. You can go on either Jordan. You can go on either of our on our pages and check it out. We both told the story. I called it. I don't remember what I called it, to be honest with you. What'd you call it, Rylee?
The Nightmare on Livingston Street, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. So the Nightmare on Livingston Street, and I think mine was like Home of Hell or House of Hell or something like that. Um, but I actually did like a crawling scene in that. I like took a clip of it and just making the video, even like making the video, finding the crawling scene, finding the pictures. I was just like looking through the pictures, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself right now? Like sometimes I make these scary story videos and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? And I cannot sleep. And then to answer, kind of go into more of Duchess Anastasia's question about sleep paralysis, I get sleep paralysis like every 3 nights. I get it all the time. But most of the time, I don't experience anything. I just can't move and it feels like there's a piano on me. But I've had some like super crazy sleep paralysis. Um, like, but low-key thinking about cheating and stories of consequences. Oh, so I had this sleep paralysis, or oh, so okay, so I told this like a while ago, and I actually pretended like it was someone else's story because it was when I very first started my account, and so but it wasn't. It was mine and my boyfriend's story, and what happened was me and my boyfriend, he doesn't believe in any of this stuff. He's like doesn't believe in the paranormal at all. You couldn't convince him if it happened right in front of him. And we both hear singing every night in our apartment, and I hear it and he hears it, and it's every single night. And I am like, there's no way that you don't believe that in the paranormal. We're both hearing this. We're both hearing it. We hear it every night around 2 a.m. So one night we're talking about it. One day we're talking about how we hear it, right? And he falls asleep, he takes a nap, and all of a sudden I'm filming content and I hear him in the background. And yeah, suck on my sunshine. I get it's very annoying. But he's in the background and I hear him. You know how like when you have sleep paralysis and sometimes you can mumble like the tiniest bit of words? Well, yes. He was mumbling like the tiniest bit and saying my name. And I look over and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I realize he's having sleep paralysis. So I run over, I wake him up, and he's like, oh my God, that was so scary. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, there was a woman standing in front of me with her mouth gaping open, and she like blood was just pouring out of her mouth. And she was just standing in front of me screaming. And I was like, and he's like, and I couldn't move. And he starts laughing. He thinks it's funny. And I'm like, that's terrifying. And this is right after we had talked about the whole hearing the singing. Well, it gets so much worse. So right after that, I go back to filming, and he's sitting in the bed, and he goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And his nose just starts bleeding like profusely, like bleeding like a lot. And I had to get him like tissues and stuff. But I thought that freaked me out so bad, that whole situation and just how it went down. And we have to sleep there.
That is absolutely insane. It actually reminds me of a Reddit story that I read once. It was about a man over in the UK that actually used to be one of those, I don't know what they're called. I'm going to look like a complete idiot right now, but one of the people that stand at the gates and they're not allowed to show expression or react to you.
I forgot what they're called too.
I cannot think about it ever. I don't know why. But he was one of them, and there was a woman that looked exactly like what you just described, and she walked up to him, and it was coming out of her mouth, and he was like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is the creepiest thing I've ever experienced. So he ended up telling her and reacting and said, like, get the F away from me. What's wrong with you? And she started to appear to him every day, counting down. And he finally went to like the head guy that ran the whole thing, and he was like, "Did you talk to her?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I told her to stay away from me." And he was like, what number have you gotten to?" And the guy was like, "What do you mean, what number?" And he's like, "What number has she gotten down to?" And she counts down, and he says she's gotten down to 2. And he says, don't interact with her again. Don't let her get to 1. And he ends up having his niece over, and the lady is there randomly at his house, and she gets to 1 and takes the niece. Uh-huh. But exactly what you described is what he saw.
That's crazy. Wait, takes the niece how?
Like, it's still a missing persons case. Like, I found it on a true crime page on Reddit. And he was like, he was specific in his title to where there was enough paranormal instance for me to like click on it and want to read it. And when I read it, I was like, that it's not just like a normal person, because he said that her mouth was so big and like it did not look like a human's face when she opened her mouth, is how he described her.
That is terrifying. And that again reminds me of the story that I got that was super crazy. That the paranormal crime stories are really the ones that are my favorite. I love paranormal and crime, but that is insane. So I am gonna see real quick if I can find this story real quick. I can find it. It's like it's really really short, but it's like you're like, wait, what? After you read the
What just happened?
yeah, like after you read it, you're like, did you just say that? Like, and it was so nonchalantly that way. Hi, I think, let's see. I sent it. Let me see if I can type it in. Grandmother.
Oh, it's already starting off strong.
Yeah, I know. Missing. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so yeah, she actually emailed me back. I'm not sure if she's actually missing. It's just nobody has her. Okay, so she says, okay, so this is kind of short, but when I was younger, every other weekend, me and my sister would sleep over at my grandma's house. Mind you, it was very, very old house, but one night me and my sister decided to sleep in the basement since we were already watching a movie down there. It was around 2 a.m. and there was a clapping sound from the hall. I wasn't fully awake, but all I could see was a family of 4 dressed in really old-timey fashion clothes. They weren't touching me, but they were screaming at me and my sister to get out. A couple weeks later, it was time to sleep over at my grandma's house again, but this time, me and my sister slept upstairs in the guest bedroom near the really creepy attic. Again, it was around 2 a.m., but instead of them being far from us, they were standing over us, just yelling and yelling to get out. The next morning, we told our grandma, but she just told us it was a dream. We haven't heard from her since we stopped sleeping over. The next weekend, we didn't show. She's never been found dead or alive. She just went missing. Years later, in 2022, I went over for a sleepover at my friend's house. It was late at night, and we decided to play Ghost in the Graveyard and hide and go seek. Mind you, it was super dark. We did the flashlight, though. Nothing was happening during Ghosts in the Graveyard, but after the 4th person was found, hide and go seek, after the fourth person was found from hide and go seek, we all watched something or someone run against the pond and caught our attention because we knew it couldn't just walk on the water, let alone run. We just decided to keep finding the last 2 since we knew we were close by. Okay, so I guess all of them weren't found. The only reason why we brushed it off was because we just assumed that it was a bird. But after they were found, the other 2 kids, we decided to all just sit outside and join the silence, although it wasn't silent. As we heard a loud scream coming from the woods, then we saw it again. Something ran across the pond, except it wasn't going left to right. It was coming our way. Obviously, we ran outside, but it was those 4 people in the old-fashioned clothes. Her grandmother's fucking missing.
What was the thing running towards them?
It was 4 old people. So she's basically saying that after they played hide and go seek to find 4 people, they were seeing stuff at the corner of their eye until they found the 4th person. And then when they found the 4th person, they saw, no, they weren't playing hide and go seek in a graveyard. They were playing near a pond.
It was a pond.
It was near a pond. And after they found the fourth person, the same four people appeared that she had seen at her grandmother's house. But the crazy part to me is like how she just nonchalantly in the middle of the story said after that she saw those people at her grandmother's house and her grandmother said this is just a dream, then her grandmother just went missing. She's never been found, dead or unalive or alive.
Yeah, that is
Just very nonchalantly. What?
There's so much happening in this story for it to be as short as it is.
I know. And I said, so I was like, so thank you for the story. Are you telling me that your grandmother went missing after this? And she goes, I don't know. No one's ever heard from her. I don't know. It's just nobody has heard from her in a very long time. And I'm like, what?
That is so bizarre. And why does it also kind of remind me of the movie The Visit?
Why don't I remember that movie?
It's the two little kids that the mom drops them off at the grandparents' house and doesn't like say anything to the grandparents. And then they end up showing her like, oh, mom and grandma and papa are like being super creepy and crazy. And she shows them over like a FaceTime video. And the girl's like, that's not your grandparents. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, I remember that. I vaguely remember that. It
was the crawling under the house for me. That's what got me.
I don't remember that. Thank God. I don't remember that. I just think sometimes when like, I don't know if you get these stories, but how did they not go full detective paranormal investigator mode? I don't know. That's what I would do. Like your grandmother went missing. Like that's why some of you guys send in these stories sometimes. And it's so funny the way that you tell them sometimes, because sometimes I'll be reading them and I'm just like, the nonchalance, is that the nonchalance? Yes. The nonchalance is so funny to me sometimes because I'm like, what? Some people will start off the story by saying, this isn't that scary, and then I'll go to read it and I'm like, what?
I know. Every time they do that, I'm like, what? Or they're like, it's not as bad. It's not as detrimental as some of your other stories.
Yeah.
Like you literally almost were beheaded. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I know. It's so funny. Those are my favorite when that happens. But yeah, so that was a crazy one. And some people are desensitized to the ghoulish nature. That's true. And you think I would be desensitized to it too, or she would be, Rylee, because Rylee, have you ever had anything paranormal happen to you?
Oh yeah, I've shared a few of my stories. The only one that I haven't shared yet is the Hat Man.
Well, share it. Do you feel comfortable sharing it?
Yeah, it takes me a second to like piece it all together. But so when I was really young, it's important to note that my parents did not really like baby me and my sisters. So we didn't get to like sleep in their room with them when we were scared. We didn't get to like leave our room. If we were scared in the middle of the night, we had to suck it up and cry ourselves to sleep. Like that's just how it was. So I used to wake up in the middle of the night and my sister had this lava lamp that she was absolutely obsessed with. And I'm totally going to rat on myself because I broke that lava lamp. 100% did. And I used to get sleep paralysis. I used to see him standing at my doorway and he had these red glowing eyes and he had his top hat on. And for some reason to me, it felt like he was a vampire. So I would get up and I would run into my mom's room. And I'd be like, Mom, the vampire is in the hallway. And she would just like shrug me off and tell me, go lay back down. And when I would go to lay back down, he would be walking into my older sister's room. And then as I started to get older, I don't necessarily know that it was the Hat Man, but I got into a point, especially middle school to high school, where I was like exceptionally depressed. And I just did a video recently about someone who shared that her brother had unalived himself. And her whole family and them actually believe it was the wife and that she had taken whatever was attached to her and given it to the husband and it fed into his depression and made him do that because of what the OP had seen. And I kind of feel the same way because after I had the sleep paralysis and started seeing the Hat Man and like seeing him as this vampire figure in my doorway, I started to have this reoccurring dream of watching myself pass. And I was always it was always just me in like complete blackness. And then when I would wake up, there would be this black face right above me with red eyes. And it got to the point where I was like, Dad, something's not right. Like I'm seeing things when I wake up and like I'm having this dream. And he said, well, does it talk to you? I said, no. And he said, you're fine. So I went for like 2.5 years, waking up almost every single day, seeing this face hovering above me, and I would blink and then it would be gone. And then one day it just left.
That's crazy. I would not be able to deal with that. Well, I mean, what would he have said if it talked to you?
He probably would have sent me to like an insane asylum or something. I don't know. He probably would have been like, I'm locking your ass up.
This is so funny because my parents were the same. Like, my mom believes in the paranormal. So if I told her something paranormal, she would believe us. But like, there was no like me getting up and being like, oh yeah, Has anyone experienced, hold on one second. Has anyone experienced the Rake? Research. I think I like the Rake. I just got a story about, so this is what the story that I was going to tell it tonight, but I'm not going to since we went live. I didn't have time. I got a story about a girl who has to bargain for her life after she unalives herself with a rake. And it's crazy. And I'm telling it tomorrow. The video's already finished. But like she literally unalives herself and then she is in the hospital and a rake comes to her, something that looks exactly like a rake, and just basically says, you need to do this in order for me to give you your life back. And it happens twice, and then it's just crazy. I'm not going to ruin the story, but someone just mentioned the Rake, and that's, yeah.
I can't wait to listen to that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The story's all over the place. It was really, really hard to read, and the timeline was not a garden rake, no. No, that's what I thought the first time I heard rake. A rake is like, how would you explain a rake, Rylee?
I honestly, let's look up the description first.
Very similar to an SW.
Yeah, kind of like not a mimic, but a shapeshifter.
Yeah, I think it's a shapeshifter. I think so.
I think that's a better word to use to make it more understandable.
I gotta take my freaking shoes off. I don't know why I'm wearing shoes right now. She's gonna look it up for you.
And I was gonna play the Annalise tapes if you wanted to.
Yes. Yeah. The Annalise tapes. That should be fucking scary. I think it came from Creepypasta originally. Did it?
Yes, it did. It's described as a tall, hairless, pale humanoid entity with spindly limbs and pale skin, often seen crouching or crawling on all fours. No, ma'am.
It crawled in the story.
Oh, see, I'm running. And you know what? I say this often too. I'm a lot braver than I say that I am. When I'm in the comfortability of my own space, like here in my home, like I know nothing is gonna get me in other than like the outside world. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I know that nothing paranormal is gonna get me here because it is such a protected space for me, including my car. Like I get a lot of comments about people saying like you need to bless your car. I promise, my car has been taken care of. Especially with the story that I told earlier. But if I was like exploring and something happened, I am so much braver than I give myself credit for, because I'm the person that like if I see a grown man swinging on a woman and there's no man around, I will swing back. So I always say that I don't give myself enough credit in my videos, but it's because I'm so comfortable in the way that I'm talking and like telling the story that I would like to think I wouldn't go check it out. But this says that it's known for its blank face, 3 glowing eyes, so maybe a third one, and tendency to lurk in dark places, inducing nightmares and ultimately unaliving its victims. Fictional horror stories shared online. Honestly, how do you feel about the idea that maybe these stories, such as like Slender Man and stuff, aren't necessarily fictional? They're just altered to be something that is not real. Like,
I think, Amber Schultz, you're so sweet.
Thank you.
what I think sometimes is that either that or that these fictional characters come up and then entities know that we're afraid of these things, and so they take advantage of that and present themselves in that way. Like I did a story on Zozo, and Zozo's supposed to be fake, but like the girl swears, if I don't know if she's in here right now, but she swears the story is real and that it was Zozo. And I was explaining to her that like it could have been a bad entity, like a demon or some entity that was impersonating itself to be Zozo, because Zozo is now this like sensationalized character that was originally made up, but either it's not made up and it comes from something, or it's now coming together because entities know that it scares us. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Like they're manipulating the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that. What do you know about the stick people? Oh, I get freaking stories about the stick people. Have you ever gotten a story about stick people?
I don't think so.
So it literally is like stick figure people. Like you draw a stick figure. People have actually seen the stick figure for before it was well known. Oh yeah, Danny, I'm sure. But yeah, the stick figure stories that I get, when I ask what they look like, they say it literally looks like when you draw a picture of a stick figure, that is what they see. They literally see that. So it's not like it's like a what I guess you would call it like a 1D character. It's native country, it's real. It's in native country, it's real. I believe that because I've gotten a couple stories about the stick man.
It makes me think of Blair Witch Project.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know, because when I watched it, or at least my recollection of it, there were things hanging in the trees that looked like sticks. And when they would look at them through the tent and shine the light, you could see the figures, and it was like those stick figures.
Yeah, yes.
It
That's
is a
what
great
someone else is
movie.
thinking.
And if you
Yeah.
guys are ever in Vegas, there is an escape room. I don't know if you guys are escape room people, but I am. If you're ever in Vegas, there's an escape room that's Blair Witch, and everybody interacts. Like all the people that work there interact with you. It is so much fun.
Oh, I love escape rooms. I would definitely do that.
I
Um,
did
I
not
want
want to get
to.
Saw.
I want to see the Annalise tapes.
Okay, so I found the movie, and it was hold on, let me go back to it. I hate when for some reason my iPad will be like, "Hey, I actually don't recognize your thumbprint right now." I'm so sorry. Like, why? Um,
Thank you, Holly Ann. She says y'all are so pretty.
Thank you so much. So the one that I saw was 2011, and it's a horror slash documentary, and it's Annalise the Exorcist tapes. And it's all put together in a very good movie. I highly recommend watching it. When I first saw it, it was on Netflix. I have no idea if it is now. But I just remember seeing this picture, which let me see if I can blow it up.
Oh wait, I'm gonna make your screen big. Expand you. Okay.
I just remember seeing this, which I don't think my... Hello, can I just open this? Please and thank you. That was the picture.
Oh my god.
Which is insane.
Yeah, no.
And let me see if I can get to...
It blew my mind how many people thought the Blair Witch was real. I thought it was real for the longest time.
I'm pulling it up right now in 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. She's pulling up the Annalise Michael tapes, you guys. This is going to be scary. Like super, super scary. This is of like her possession. Like the possession tapes that she's about to pull up. I'm scared actually right now.
I love them. I think they're super interesting and intriguing. But they do get really creepy. All these tapes.
Thank you, Linked3 SBO215. A lot of people did because Blair Witch was the first of that kind of movie. A lot of people did for the low budget Blair Witch was what they did a really good job with it. They did do a really good job with it. It was very realistic. It almost had TikTok vibes where like they were like filming like you do on TikTok with like the face and the camera the whole time. It's very relatable and personable. Yeah, no, it's not, Miranda. It terrified me too, Kai.
We're gonna support her.
Yes, Jordan.
All right. Go. What? Take it quick.
Je suis la bête qui monte la mer. Regardez mes marchés. Il est accroué.
She speak English?
Yes, this is real. This is the Annalise Michael tapes.
Raus! Wait! Get out! Out! Keep filming! Get out!
So there's that one.
That is fucking crazy. That's the real thing?
That's one of them that pulls up for the real tapes.
That is freaking terrible. She was speaking in a different language.
Almost the entire time.
My friends laughed at me for buying this, and now they ask me why.
How do you know a different language?
Comprised of the real, unedited tapes recorded during the exorcism of Anelise Michael. The recordings were made during a 10-month span between 1975 and 1976, and though they're completely in the German language.
Yeah, Holly Ann.
July 1st, 19...
I get it. I've never seen this either, Jordan.
So these are just the recordings. Some of them.
Und den Kirchen. Und in den Familien. Und wann sind sie jetzt scheißen? Ja!
It's only 6 minutes in.
Bist du der Sache? Nein! Ich bin Nero! Ich bin der Dritte im Bunde! So.
The growl.
That's real?
Und zwar mit allen zu dem Scheiß gelogen Witzmuscheln.
Listen, this is the Annalise Michael real tapes.
Bekannt geben.
I don't know what just happened. Oh,
Oder so der Schwein.
just the noise.
No, Leora, I haven't.
I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit. There's like
Ja! Und jetzt andere daneben. Ja! Und jetzt scheiß noch da oben.
now, mind you, she was German, so she's mainly speaking German.
Nein! Nein!
Vater der Lüge, sage die Wahrheit. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes. Vater der Lüge, sage die Wahrheit. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes.
And you can hear him praying over her as she's making those noises.
Alle schreibt euch! Muss so schnell wie möglich unter die Leute! Die Scheiße!
Die Tonbänder, die Kassetten.
Nein!
Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Vaters.
Ja!
I get it, Kai.
Und was ist noch für ein Wallfahrtsort, den du nennen willst? Nennen musst im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des...
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
You know Harbor Freight for
It's an
affordability,
ad.
but durability goes right along.
That is so crazy that that is real.
This part has a little bit more. I'm looking at where it has the spikes in the voice.
Befehle dir im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria. Im
Ich
Namen
soll die Botschaft von Mariam lesen. Kapiert?
There's one where she is speaking English, but you can also hear German coming out of her at the same time.
Nichts
At the
mehr.
same time.
Jesu und im Namen Maria befehle ich dir alles zu sagen, was ich dem Bischof überbringe.
Die humane Witte ist entscheidend. Was jetzt?
I wish my mom was here. She speaks German.
Der erste Teil.
That would have been cool.
Ja!
Hi.
Soll noch etwas gesagt werden über Fatima und über die Botschaft von Fatima? Ich befehle dir, Jesu und im Namen Mariens,
Ja, wenn
und des Sohnes und des
wenn
Heiligen
das nicht erfüllt wird, und dann kommt ein neues Strafgericht. So. Und jetzt rein!
Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria.
Das reicht alle.
Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria befehle ich dir, die volle Wahrheit zu sagen. Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria.
Das reicht alle.
Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria befehle ich dir, die volle Wahrheit zu sagen. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Der weiß alles.
This is 36 minutes in.
Die im höchsten Himmel so schön bleiben.
Also den Himmel muss
Do you hear the two voices?
Erhalten meinen Glauben reich und
Here, hold on, I'll
standhaft.
back it up. Is that
Guys,
third?
listen. She's speaking. There's two voices you can hear coming out of her in a second. Hold on.
Der weiß alles. Der weiß auch den Tag der Erlebnis.
What is happening?
Die im höchsten Himmel so schön bleiben.
Also den Himmel muss
Erhalten meinen Glauben reich und standhaft.
Schön sein.
Schön.
Unseren Schutzengel muss mir gebetet werden. Sag es mal schön.
Nein!
Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes.
I agree, the fact that you can is insane. Yes. One is like robotic and the other one is that deep
Zu den Schutzengel muss mir gebetet werden. Sagt es dann. Wir rufen unsere Schutzengel an. Wir rufen unsere Schutzengel an. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
And they're all chanting now.
Sag es mal ganz deutlich, Ludwig werden. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes befehlen wir es ganz deutlich und
Now she's going into English. She's saying no instead of 9.
Does she know English? Same, Zay.
Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes.
Das geht nicht. Nein. Das sind meine Beine.
Des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Wir befehlen dir, dass du sagst, dass du den Schutzengeln mehr
Yes, she
gibst.
speaks English. And she doesn't speak English.
Des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Zu den Heiligen,
Straight up.
weil, warum?
Ja, weil die Übermacht der Hölle so groß ist.
Der Hölle,
Weil zur Zeit die Macht der Hölle
Can't even fathom what she went through.
Ja,
That's what I'm thinking this whole time.
Menschen müssen ihr Schutzengel anflehen, damit sie ihnen beistehen.
Die Menschen müssen ihre Schutzengel anflehen, damit sie ihnen beistehen.
I don't know who that is.
die Königin der Engel, dir befehlen.
That was
Und
good.
ich habe den Tag die Ausbauen.
I'll show you a picture after.
Muss ich nicht
Yes,
sagen.
I do.
Wir können dir nicht glauben, du musst uns vor ein Zeichen setzen, dann.
Ist klar.
They are really sad, Danny. We should show them.
Was ist denn los?
Maus.
Bist du mit der Frau gekommen?
I'm trying to
Nein.
get to the portions where she's speaking.
You may think that an adult that can't stop watching the P word looks something
For
like
those
this.
of you who just came in, she's replaying the real Annalise Michael tapes that like are really Annalise Michael going through what she went through. They're real tapes.
Des Heiligen Geistes.
Das ist die Jungfrau Maria. Sag es mal.
Die volle Wahrheit. Wir rufen unsere Schutzengel an und bitten die Königin der Engel, dass sie dich zwingen, die Wahrheit zu sagen, wie viel seid ihr? Und wie viel sagt
Ich hab mir Rylee heute rausgerückt.
im Namen des Vaters
How long ago was this?
und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
76 or 67?
Sarah, she did not survive, no. She passed away.
Steht auf dem Schlachtfeld. Also diese Kreuz steht auf dem
I'll look them up right now while we're listening to this.
Die Wahrheit. Im Namen Jesu befehlen
Also kein Hitler. Komm, lügst du.
Im Namen Jesu. Seid die Wahrheit. Im Namen des verfallenen Gottes seid die Wahrheit. Wer bist du?
Hitler!
Jesu. Befehle ich dir, sagt die Wahrheit. Ist kein bei euch. Ist kein bei euch.
Unsere Schutzengel werden dich zwingen, alles zu sagen. Aber ich würde dir, der Königin der Engel, wirst du alles sagen.
Ich bin kein.
Seid ihr also 4.
These are the before and after pics. I'll make my screen bigger. Was her family upset? Probably. I don't know.
Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes.
Ja,
Amen.
ich bin auch Hitler.
Wer denn?
Hitler!
Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Mariens befehle ich dir, alles zu sagen. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Was hat der Hitler denn sonst noch getan?
I think, honestly, I think that the priest was able to save her soul.
I hope so. This is the before, this is the after.
Hat mich umgebracht. Selbstmord.
Hat er noch gelebt, wie er das Lied genommen hat?
And this is only 42 minutes of what she went through. That took literal months and weeks.
Wir müssen nur wissen, wer du bist. Du kannst ja uns da alles Mögliche vormachen, ne? Das wird alles wieder. Und deswegen sagst du uns jetzt im Auftrag unserer Schutzengel, im Auftrag der Kulturengel, die volle Wahrheit. Befehl ist der Name des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes.
Muss noch mehr gebetet werden.
Was muss mehr gebetet werden? Sagt ganz deutlich. Im Auftrag.
Von dem Scheißdreck.
Was?
Von jemandem.
Du meinst?
Ja.
Sag's deutlich. Damit der Bischof es hört, auf den Befehl des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes.
Zu sagen hat.
This is about an hour into the tapes.
Ja, wenn ihr einen Scheißdreck rumrennen würdet, dann. Aber das kann auch sein. Das ist mir so blöd. Ja, ihr wisst
Do you want me to stop playing them?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Ja. Es dauert nämlich nicht mehr lang. Bis kommt das Strafgericht.
Yeah, I'm
Es
good.
nicht mehr lang.
Ja, veröffentlicht.
Nee. Ja. 3000 Block, die schaffe ich noch durcheinander. Nicht mehr wissen, was auch noch nicht.
I've listened to these so many times. I actually did a paper on it in high school.
Right?
It's hard. It was really hard.
Ich spring noch so
So, Kai.
und noch Streite drauf, dass es nicht mehr kann.
It's okay, Miranda. Now, thank you, wasted youth.
Aber die Prüfung schaffst du nicht auf fest. Sag mir die Sauernase, die das.
Anelise Michael.
I'll tell you after it's done, show. How long did you go through this?
I've been fast forwarding and skipping just to get to certain parts of it. So right now we're at an hour and 11 minutes. It's got about 20 minutes left.
No, I mean, how long did she go through this, is what they're asking.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure the time frame. I'd have to look it up because I can't remember.
I can look it up.
Yeah, but I know that her family was religious and it gradually came on to her.
Are you really going to miss this?
We do this training once a year. There's 800,000.
I think we are definitely not going to miss it.
Ten months.
9 months, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
10 months.
And it wasn't like they were there every single day doing it. It started gradually for her. Like she came home one day and everything was different and things around her started to change. And she started to tell people like what was happening, and they started calling people in and taking her to the doctor and doing different things to try to figure it out. And ultimately it came down to no one could figure it out. No one knew what was happening to her. There was no diagnosis to provide. There was nothing that they could utilize scientifically that would explain what was happening to Annalise. So her family went to the church and said something's not right. And they would do them for weeks at a time. And then she would, like, herself, she would reappear for a short period of time. And they would think, oh, you know, she's fine. She's starting to come back. She's starting to fight. And, you know, but really it was just, she was getting so tired that she was allowing it to manifest. And it was becoming part of her. So they didn't realize that. And that's why it took so much time, is they were continuously coming in and coming out, coming in and coming out until the final weeks of her life.
That is horrifying.
There was even in one of the, because they all took notes, so everyone that was in the room, which was the mother, the father, a lot of times the mother had to leave the room, but when things got really, really bad during the exorcism, she would go in because she felt that her daughter was still there experiencing it and that it wasn't just her physical body. Because that's what the priest told them, was, I'm trying to save her soul. That's what I'm trying to do. It's no longer about saving her life, it's about saving her soul. And there was portions of the writings that I remember so vividly, because all I could imagine in my head was, I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, my physical body couldn't handle it. They would make her do like burpees, where you would go jump up and then jump down and then jump up and jump down, to wear her body out so that she couldn't allow the demon that overtook her body to react when she was having the exorcisms. So for hours upon hours a day, when she was Annalise and allowing it to manifest because she was so tired, they would make her do these physical activities to make her body tired. It was horrific.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like, how do you know, like,
she started to attack the people that were there, and because the family felt so strongly that even if they did bring her to a hospital, no one could do anything for her. Because, like I said, at that point, the priest had said, like, she's gone. Now it's about saving her soul. Like, if you don't want her to go to HE double hockey sticks, like, we need to fight what's inside of her. So it became this huge, huge case. I mean, it took over Germany around the time that it happened. Like, it was the most heard about case nationally for a really long time, just because of the things that happened and the fact that it was the church that was involved was at fault for her death.
yeah.
You know, so it was extreme for that time period, especially because not a lot, even if you do believe in religion, that doesn't necessarily mean that you believe in the physicalities of possession and exorcisms and things like that. There are people who are still religious but don't take part in believing in the paranormal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That, hi, She. How are you? Thank you. That just makes me so sad. Like, hearing that was so emotionally, like, that was hard.
It's extremely difficult, and the movie will make you exceptionally emotional. No matter how or when you watch it, just watching them act out the events that happened in those tapes and hearing the same, because they utilize some of it in the documentary to kind of reenact it, but they utilize the tapes, the actual tapes. So you're hearing what they are perceiving happening because someone is in there writing notes, like they're in a courtroom, but watching this happen and writing down every single instance.
Oh my God, it makes me sick, like literally sick. Whoa, I did not know that was going to have that type of effect on me.
I'm honestly not surprised at all. For anyone that has any type of compassion or empathy for human life, it's extremely difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, if I would be shocked that if you didn't have that type of reaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
67 Catholic exorcism rites during the year before her death. Her ultimate cause of unaliving was malnutrition, for which her parents and the priest who performed the exorcism were convicted of negligent homicide. I believe the parents did not have to serve any time, but I could be incorrect about that. She was diagnosed with epileptic psychosis and manic depression and had a history of psychiatric treatment that proved ineffective.
Yeah, Miranda, it's okay, sweetie. Like, honestly, we understand. Yes, we were talking about the exorcism of Emily Rose. Shady Lane, we just listened to the tapes, which were really hard to listen to for a lot of people. She had done a research paper on it before, so she's listened to it several times. But that's what we're talking about, yes. And I just think, did the malnutrition start because like she couldn't eat physically, or was that someone's fault?
No, she couldn't eat. She couldn't. So it started with a seizure, and like everything around her started to change. She started to express to her family, something's not right. I'm not feeling right. She stopped eating. She stopped drinking. She ended up having some type of seizure. That's when they took her into the doctor and they diagnosed her as epileptic. And there's like sleep studies that you have to do, which incur for epilepsy, especially for certain types of diagnosis for epilepsy. And once they diagnosed her with that, they were like, okay, like here's all the things that you need to do. And she still had absolutely no appetite. Once they got into actually doing the exorcisms, her having to do those physical workouts consistently to prevent her from attacking the people that were doing the exorcism or trying to help her, however you want to word it, that also contributed, because by the time that she was so tired and her body was so exhausted, they were re-performing another exorcism. And it wasn't like the demon was just gonna be like, okay, let's take a 15-minute break so that you can snack on something.
Yeah.
She didn't have the opportunity. Nobody gave anybody the chance to do anything once it was happening. You stayed there, you didn't look into her eyes, and you kept chanting. That was it.
Yeah, so Jenna, those were the tapes of Annalise Michael. So Emily Rose, yes. The Emily Rose was the movie. They renamed her Emily Rose for the movie, but her real name was Annalise Michael, and those were the real tapes of Annalise Michael. Which is...
She was given a slew of medications. It wasn't... Sorry, that freaks me out a little bit because there was literally just like a standoff shooting around the corner of my house the other day. So just give me 1 second.
Oh my God. Oh, that made me jump too. That was so fucking hard to listen to. And when I like looked up her pictures, you guys, that was tough. That was really hard. I'm gonna be thinking about that for fucking days.
Sorry about that. That's why I have dogs.
I know, I have two.
But yeah, they gave her a lot of different medications. They gave her convulsive medications to help her to stop from having the convulsive seizures, where she was basically making the same noises that you heard in the video, but her entire body was convulsing, which they later attributed. If you go and you read through the court case and you actually read through the transcripts, which are online, you can find them in like a Word doc. The opposing party that was defending the priest basically said, no, these were religious acts that were being performed, and that's what they believed at the time, was that she was possessed by a demon and it caused her convulsions. It wasn't something that was going to be able to be helped by medication. And they did use the fact that none of the medications that were given to her by doctors actually helped her case. No matter what they diagnosed her with, no matter the amount of prescription, the milligrams that they provided, nothing helped her, and nothing at all changed her brain waves, how she was having her epileptic seizures, which I know that we didn't have a lot of scientific research behind epilepsy back then, especially like in the early 60s to 70s, which this was, I believe, in 1970 or 1975. And I know there wasn't that much research, but they still had ways of maintaining it, and nothing worked at all. So that's why I think that it was a really hard case to actually process, because for those that don't believe paranormal to be fact, much like a lot of people didn't believe in aliens until the government came out and said something about it.
Yeah.
You know, they attributed that to being like, oh, you just didn't provide her with the medical care that she needed. No, they brought her several times over a span of like 6 months, and nothing worked until the parents went to the church. And the more that they did prayers and the more that they chanted, the more she reacted. And that's what caused them to believe that she was actually possessed.
That's, I can't, just looking at that picture, for those of you guys who didn't see, I'm just going to show it one more time so that you guys can see the difference and what she looked like before and after, which is so sad. Like, if you guys can see, are you able to see that?
It's a much better view than last time too.
Okay. Look how beautiful she was. Like, and then like, look at what happened to her. And how old was she? How old was she, Rylee?
I think she was sick. No.
She was in college, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was in college. She started to get hospitalized for different psychoses when she was 16, but it didn't start actually turning into something until she was 22. She died at 23.
So she went through this for a long time.
Yeah, well, it slowly manifested in her. Like it took over when she started to allow for her depression to kind of sink into that depression, you know? Like, I know some people, they would choose rather to sink into the depression and just let it take its course than try to fight it, whereas other people would go and seek help. She was 16 and she was just a kid. She didn't know, you know, that all she knew was that she was just a little sad, you know? So she didn't say anything other than, you know, I just don't feel right, or I just don't like the way that this is. A lot of people actually recount her saying that she didn't like the way she looked, which was also really heart-wrenching because she was a beautiful girl.
Yeah, she was.
You know, so it started at a young age. She got diagnosed with a lot of different mental disorders. They were left untreated. And then when she started to really notice that things were changing and she wasn't herself, it was when she started speaking out about it. And I believe it was right before her 22nd birthday. And then like 2 or 3 months after her 22nd birthday was when they started seeking medical attention. And it wasn't, that's the other part too that a lot of people misconstrue about the case, is that it wasn't just the family. It was the community across the board that thought she was possessed. It was not just her parents and her sibling. It was across the board. The community actually believed that she was possessed because they were such a smaller knit community in Germany. They weren't like a bigger city that everybody knew everybody. So when everyone found out that Anelise was sick, they were like, something's really not right. So it wasn't just the parents, and everybody attended the courts when this all went down and happened. A lot of people went and protest of them even accusing the parents and the priest of doing such horrific acts because they didn't think that they had a mean bone in their body.
Yeah. It started medically with her depression. She got depressed when she was 16. Sorry, my foot is itching like crazy.
And it was a manic depression or major depressive disorder is what it's now known as, and psychosis with epileptic seizures was what she was officially diagnosed with.
Yours too? Yeah, that's I have that in my family. I have a lot of family members with that. It's really hard to watch.
It's extremely difficult.
That's crazy. Your ankle's itchy too? Wait, is your ankle really itchy too? Um, I That's crazy. That was I mean, I'm glad that I heard that just because like in a way you kind of like need to hear things like that. That's weird, Leora. That's so weird. I feel like you kind of need to hear things like that sometimes to like really. I'm not kidding you. My heavy water bottle just fell off my table. I'm not even facing that way. Someone also saw a dark shadow in their room. There's a lot of people saying that there's activity in their house right now.
Yeah, no, definitely burn some sage and say a few prayers.
Yeah, because that was definitely not you got to make sure that you protect yourself. Even before and after you watch our videos, you got to make sure that you protect yourself. I know that it sounds silly. Like, I'll say it in my videos sometimes, especially because I talk a lot about, like, demons and stuff, but it's so important to protect yourself before and after watching stuff like this. Because I've had so many people, I'm actually going to do a video about it. I have so many people that have contacted me and emailed me to tell me that they have gotten sleep paralysis either during watching my videos while they fall asleep or like right afterwards. So many people have told me this. I take a quick glance at my cross every time I watch. How come you say wear headphones? I say wear headphones because when you have it out in the open in your house instead of just in your ear, like you don't want to invite anything into your house. When it's out in the open like that, it's better to just put headphones in your ears. You're just hearing it. You're not like allowing that energy to come out of your phone in your house. I know that sounds silly, but
The more that you can do to protect yourself is always better.
yeah. So that's why I say that in seriousness. And some people are always like, what? And then I laugh about it. And I'm like, it's funny until you email me and tell me that you've gotten sleep paralysis from it. Sleep paralysis is not fun. So there were so many things that happening in my house beforehand. I started playing after watching your videos. My cat started freaking out after I watched. Yeah, it happens, especially because of the type of stories that we tell sometimes, you know? They're dark sometimes.
Most of the time, actually.
Yeah, most of the time they're dark. So that's crazy. I'm glad that we did that. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad that we did that. That was something that I feel like I needed to hear, even though it was awful.
It's honestly, it's one of the worst cases in history that have ever been recorded for exorcisms. There's quite a few that you can look up, but as far as like released documentation, hers was absolutely the most abhorrent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also think that it's really sad because I know people are utilizing it as like scientific research, but you're listening to someone quite literally passing.
Yeah, that's why that's exactly what I was thinking of, like when we were listening to it, is like we're literally listening to this person, like.
Right, exactly. And it's to think that there are so many people that can just sit down and watch and listen to that and either A, not have a reaction at all, or B, have the reaction that you have just had. You know, like that's the difference between the two parties. Those who can not have a reaction at all, those are the ones that they're watching it for a completely separate reason than what we're watching it for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of sick if you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly sick.
It's like when people, and I don't mean to like rain on anybody's parade, but some of the true crimer community here on the Tiki Talk, some of them are like, oh, my absolute favorite case. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Can
Like
you explain how that's a favorite?
Yeah. I do not understand that at all. That is something that I will never understand. I don't understand how something is your favorite when it involves the of another human being
Right.
at all. I mean, I've gotten stories where like that were really hard for I mean, people who have watched me have like known that like I can be a big baby when I tell stories. Like I'm super sensitive. And so sometimes I'll get stories of people who talk about like actual assault and like stuff like that, and it happens in the video, and those are super hard for me to tell. And or someone close like passes away, or it's like a horrific story. And some people in the comments, like I've gotten a couple of people in the comments that will be super insensitive or make jokes after me telling this horrid story about like there was one about me telling a story about like literally two teenage girls getting like I'm gonna give a trigger warning real quick. Well, I'm not gonna say because I don't want it to, but being hurt in the worst way you can think of for hours. And I told that story, and I do still deal with these stories, yes. And or an animal gets hurt, yeah. And people will make comments underneath it like jokingly, and I'm like, how do you listen to that story and then humor comes to your mind?
My thing is like, how are we supposed to respond to that? Because I'm the type of person that like I match energies. You know what I mean? Like my personality that you see on my TikTok is exactly who I am in person. So if
Yeah, me
someone's
too.
gonna comment something like that on my post, they should 100% be ready for me to snap back at that.
Yeah, I just normally I delete or block, like, or
Yeah,
I'll say something like that, like, because sometimes I feel like people think it's funny until it happens to them. Exactly.
exactly.
And like the thing is that like when you sometimes I'm like, do I even want to give them my energy? Like, do I even want to like respond to that? Like, I'll, but you want to so badly. Like, there's been so many times when people have said something that I've wanted to just go in on them. And I'm like, you know what? Delete, delete.
Oh, you're the bigger person because I'm not. I will respond back.
Well, I mean, I've had to stop myself so many times. I love you, Kaisa, but your stories brought darkness into my home. I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry. That's why I tell you to protect yourself, guys. But yeah, I sometimes am like, just I block and delete, block and delete.
Kai is always in my comments, snapping back at people.
Kai,
Yeah, she always is.
there's someone in my comments that does that too, and I love that. I'm always like, yes, I tell people all the time. I'm like, when people either stand up for me or stand up for other people in my comments, I'm like, I love seeing that. It's like so like I love you guys for that when you guys do that.
It just makes you feel better because they're saying what you can't.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I watch both of you all the time, so clearly collaborating. Both of these are, yeah. Said he saw a hand come out of the closet. Oh my God. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean to bring darkness into your lives.
Ditto.
Maybe. How can I talk about my stories without getting told I'm crazy or insane? You can email either of us your stories. That no one in our comments is going to call you crazy or insane, except for maybe someone who, like one person who doesn't mean anything at all. If you've looked at either of our comments, I've gone through your comments, Rylee. I've watched your videos. Like, I've watched your videos before I even spoke to you. Like, there's no one in either of our comments that is going to call you crazy. Very little if it's going to happen. I promise you. There's so much support in our comments section.
And our emails are in both of our bios, so you're more than welcome to send them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of cool too. I love it. I love that we're collaborating in specific because I feel like, and again, this isn't to like say anything bad about anyone, but you tell it from your perspective of reading the stories, and I tell it from the reader's perspective. So I feel like even if you listen to both videos, you kind of get the differences between the two, because one is the perspective of the person that's writing it, and the other one is the perspective of the person that's actually reading it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That is really cool.
So that's what I really like about it, especially after I think it was the Drag to Hell video. Someone had
Yes.
commented and said that you had already done a cover of it. And I went and I watched the video because at first I was worried that they were going to flag us or something because they were so similar.
Yeah,
But then when I watched it, they weren't similar at all, because you're telling it completely different than the way that the writer wrote it. You know what I mean?
yeah. They I don't like the way you're reading it from directly from it, and I'm reenacting it, and also the commentary is different. Like I believe like I provide more of like a synopsis where like I think you said it before too. Like even at the end we talk about it a little differently too. And
Yeah.
hold on, something just distracted me because someone said they sent me a story. If you sent me a story, Holly Ann, all you have to do is, because I get a lot of stories, just remind me. There's nothing wrong with reminding me. I promise you, I never get offended if you remind me. If I haven't told your story, just email me and say, hey, I sent you a story a while ago. Could you please check it out? Remind me. Because I like to tell everyone's stories. I don't just tell the scariest stories. I just get really scary stories. So, like, the story that I told last night wasn't really that scary. Like, I try to tell everybody's stories in order of submission. But sometimes my inbox, like I will lose people in my inbox. So you just have to remind me. And then you got to tell me your name too.
And that's the other thing too, is a lot of times, I don't know if you've run into this, but a lot of times mine is Gmail. I haven't checked yours out. Is yours Gmail?
It is Gmail.
Okay. A lot of people's stories, especially if it's coming from outside of the US, get sent to my spam folder automatically.
Oh my gosh, I never check my spam folder.
I would absolutely check your spam.
Oh my gosh, I've never even thought about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
I have a few.
and like I said, it's usually like Linda sent me in a story. She sent me 3 stories, and I want to say the first 2 didn't even come into my inbox. It went straight to my spam, and she ended up messaging me directly and being like, hey, I sent these in a while ago. I don't know how far you are in your emails. So I was like, no, I definitely should have gotten to them by now. Like I've done quite a few videos from after the month that you provided to me, and they were in my spam the whole time.
Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me that. I probably have so many stories in my spam folders. People probably are like, what the hell? She is not telling my stories. You said I've only sent one so far, I believe. Yes, I sent a story as well. I have a few, but someone said, I hope you guys go live together again. It's like a podcast, and I love it. I would love to go live with you again, Rylee.
I would love to as well. We could make it a regular thing if that's something you wanted to do.
Yeah, it would be something I would want to do. Yeah, we would make it we'll make it a regular thing, you guys. Because this was a lot of fun, and that was so good. And we definitely will. And I was not expecting that, and I think that was like, honestly, probably one of the, even though we did the live, that has to be like the best live I've ever seen. Even though like you did it.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
But
a lot of people wouldn't play things like that. You know, most of the time they're just answering questions in their comments. They're not actually talking to each other and like, you know, interacting.
yeah, I know. And crazy lightning started during this audio play, and now it's a whole light show with lots of I'm jealous. I love thunderstorms. What did you just say, Rylee? That I'm in NYC. Yes. What did you just say, Rylee? Could you repeat that?
Quite frankly, I don't remember.
Okay, sorry. I got
No, that's okay. I think we were talking about doing it every week.
Yeah. So, is this a good time for you?
For me or for everyone watching?
For you.
Me, yeah, no, absolutely. Especially Thursdays, because I mean, once it's Friday, I can just come home and sleep. You know what I'm saying? It'll be
Yeah.
totally-
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, Thursday's good. Thursday at 10 is good for me. The later, the better for me. And that's, I feel like, good for your time zone too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
then I can get everything done so that maybe we can do it every Thursday at 10 p.m. My Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Yep, Pacific Standard.
Yes.
And we can go back and forth between pages too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We could do your page next.
Yeah, go back and forth.
Has anyone experienced anything after watching a video or a live? Just curious. A lot of people that I have seen who have reached out to me have. Do you have work tomorrow?
I do, yeah.
Okay, I have work tomorrow too, so it's midnight, but do you want to make next Thursday 10 p.m. a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in and watching us. Rylee, you were so great. Honestly, I'm so excited to continue this.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be so much fun. And I'll try to come up with something for the next live because you really ran this live this time. You did an awesome job.
I think we did well together. I think we worked as a team 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Your birthday's on the 21st?
Yes, it is. So I'm going live on the 20th and the 21st, but the 21st it'll be less of a live because my partner took the day off so that we can spend it together. But
okay, I'll go on that live. What time is it?
I don't know. It's going to be all throughout the day. So I have a doctor's appointment around like 11 a.m. That shouldn't take very long. So I'm probably going to come home I'll probably be home around like 1 my time, so Pacific Standard Time. So that's what, 3 o'clock your time?
Yeah.
So I'll probably go live around then.
Awesome. I'll definitely be there. All right, guys.
Happy early birthday, Kelly.
Yeah, happy early birthday. Oh, I didn't see that. All right, you're very welcome. And like I said again, thank you so much for joining us. And make sure to stay tuned for next Thursday, every Thursday at 10 p.m. now, Eastern Standard Time, and then 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys. All right, Rylee, have a wonderful night, girl. I will see you next Thursday. I'll talk to you before then, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And have a good night. Sleep well.
You too. I'll try. Bye, guys. Love you guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.